Hey everyone, welcome back to Kirby Triple Deluxe. Last time, we liberated the Kingdom of Floralia from the rule of Queen Sectonia, and today, we're gonna go over some bonus content. Kirby has always had some bonus content in the form of some minigames and traditionally an arena or two, or some sort of boss rush, and Kirby Triple Deluxe is no different. In fact, I'd argue Triple Deluxe has some of the best side games in the series, as they're much more complete experiences than the minigames you might find in something like Kirby's Adventure or Amazing Mirror. So the first up is Kirby Fighters. How to describe this? Oh, well, hey, have you ever played Smash Brothers? Well, there you go. Yeah, it's basically Smash Brothers, but with Kirby abilities and generally less depth than a Smash Bros. Game. There's a single-player mode that's reminiscent of Smash Bros. Classic mode and just about as boring on repeat playthroughs. You go against the CPU in various maps, most maps having some form of stage hazard, while items drop from the sky, and it all culminates in a battle against Shadow Kirby, who uses the same ability as you do. There's an easy, normal, hard, and very hard difficulty, the only rewards being different colored medals based on the difficulty you take on. There's also a multiplayer mode, which is where the game shines somewhat. Up to 4 players can battle at any of the maps and choose from a variety of powers. Unless you're playing via 3DS download play like my friends were, where you only get to choose between 2 powers, Sword and Cutter. If you have the cartridge though, you also get to choose Beam, Parasol, Hammer, Bomb, Whip, Archer, Fighter, and Ninja. A pretty good variety of powers. I just really wish those powers had been available to all players even via download play. It really is just Smash Bros. With Kirby abilities, down to when you guard, your shield can eventually break and you'll be stunned. One unique feature are the ghosts when you die. You'll turn to a ghost instead of simply being knocked out. As a ghost, you can attack an opponent to get back into the fight with a little bit of HP, which could give you the win. Anyway, the maps you get to choose from are Flowerland, essentially the battlefield of this game, Castle Lololo, where Lololo and Lalala will push blocks through the level, sometimes holding items, Bubbly Clouds, in which Cracker will pop in from time to time to attack you, Cruise Force, a reference to Dreamland 3, dear god, why can't they just bring the animal buddies back? I miss them! The animal buddies will come and attack you sometimes, that's all. Dedede Arena, where Dedede throws things at you to try and get you to stop fighting on his property. Factory Tour, where these hammers will slam in from the background, crushing you, dealing a ton of damage. And finally, Another Dimension, the final destination of Kirby Fighters. One thing this game does arguably better than Smash Bros. Is the options during multiplayer. You can give a handicap to each individual player, making them take either less or more damage, or auto guard on lower handicaps, or you can even change this to auto handicap, which will give a different handicap to each player based on how well they do in fights. Items can be turned off completely, set to a normal spawn rate or a very high spawn rate, ghosts can be disabled, and best of all, hazards in stages can be turned off. Seriously, if a side mode in a Kirby game can get this feature, why can Smash not? It's kinda ridiculous. Kirby Fighters also got an expansion on the eShop for $8, Kirby Fighters Deluxe. Its main new addition is that you can now fight in team battles, which can shake things up and make the game more interesting, especially in multiplayer. All the stages from Kirby Fighters return with a few new additions. These include Springy Hand Land, which simply has these springy hands coming in from the background as a hazard. Dynablade's Nest, where Dynablade will swoop in to bother you. Butter Building has a rotating tower and various enemies coming in to cause trouble. Caldera Volcano, which has 3 lava pillars shoot up from these lava pits occasionally. And Fountain of Dreams, simply replacing Another Dimension as the final destination of this game. There's also a stage exclusively if you have Street Pass data for Kirby Triple Deluxe on your 3DS. Wildly Train Tracks, where a Wildly Train will simply come in and hit any Kirby in its way. Speaking of Street Pass, there's also 2 powers added in if you have data for it, Beetle and Bell. The single player is largely the same, except now it introduces team battles, as well as boss battles, one against Krakow and one against Dedede at the very end, where you fight a bunch of small, easily killable Dededes, then Dedede himself. It's honestly a pretty tough fight, and I like it quite a bit, though it can get annoying if you keep losing. For completing an ability in single player on very hard, you also get a rare outfit for that ability. For Sword, you get Blade Knight's outfit, Cutter, Sir Kibble, Beam gives you a Mark's hat, Parasol swaps out for a Japanese oil paper umbrella, Hammer just looks more menacing with some barricade tape and a black hammer, Bomb gives you a great and fancy party hat, Whip puts you in a black 10-gallon hat with some stars on it, Archer gains a sort of Robin Hood hat and a fancier bow, Fighter simply gives Kirby Knuckle Joe's headband, Ninja now puts Kirby in an assassin's hood, Beetle takes the Hydra from Kirby Air Ride and puts it on Kirby's head, And Bell turns the bell into a Beyonzong, probably butchered that pronunciation, which is simply an old Chinese bell made out of bronze. For completing Very Hard once, you also get a Shadow Kirby outfit that you can use in multiplayer. Multiplayer is exactly the same, besides the fact you can fight in teams now, and users playing through Download Play now have access to Beam as well. Overall, Kirby Fighters and Deluxe are alright, but nothing too special or entertaining for too long, especially the single-player content, which, again, is essentially the classic mode from Smash Bros, and again, gets boring just about as quickly as that does. Multiplayer is fun for a good while, but it's really hard to suggest it over Smash Brothers, especially since there's a Smash Bros game on the 3DS. It is significantly cheaper, but you're just not getting as good of or as deep of an experience. As a bonus game in Triple Deluxe, that's fine. As an $8 game on the eShop? I feel like that's asking for a bit too much money, to be honest. Frankly, I only bought this game to talk about it in this series. Anyway, let's move on to the next side game, Dedede's Drum Dash, a platformer rhythm game, which I'm not sure if any other game in existence is that. To a number of songs, you need to guide Dedede across these drums while pressing the A button along with the music. You can perform sequentially high jumps off of the drums by pressing A as you land on them, first a high jump and then a super jump, and you'll have to perform different types of jumps in order to get the coins scattered through these levels. Levels also have enemies that can damage you and kind of ruin your run. At the end of every level, you also get different bonuses for certain tasks, including 15 points for every 0.1 second you have left on the timer, and 1,000 points each for a general time bonus, taking no damage, getting every coin, and pressing along to every beat of the song. You're given 1 of 4 ranks based on how well you do, from bronze to platinum. You don't exactly need to do perfectly to get a platinum rank, but you need to do damn well. The stages in Dedede's Drum Dash include Green Greens, which has a remix of the titular theme, Gourmet Go-Go, a remix of Gourmet Race, Dedede's Theme, a rendition of Guess What? And the final level, Distant Traveler, remixing Crowned, the final boss theme of Return to Dreamland. Yeah, there's only 4 songs, but luckily, this one also got an eShop expansion for the same price as Fighters Deluxe, Dedede's Drum Dash Deluxe. Stages can now include number coins you have to collect in order to get a bunch of points, banners held by enemies to block your vision, and various other new obstacles in the stages to take into consideration. New stages and songs include Floral Fields, a remix of the first stage of Triple Deluxe, Must Dash, a song taken straight from Lollipop Land in Triple Deluxe, Reflected Laughter, again, taken straight from the Carnival levels of Triple Deluxe, but that's fine because this song is amazing. Bouncing Boss Battle, remixing the boss theme from Triple Deluxe. City, a great rendition of the City Trial theme from Kirby Air Ride. Seriously, when are we getting another City Trial area to mess around in? Boarding the Halberd from Kirby Superstar when you're, boarding the Halberd. And it also brings back Crowned with a new remix. Each song also has a different version of their stage with more hazards to deal with to get a good ranking. Ground even has a second remix in this game in its special stage. For completing all the normal stages, you get to wear the Dedede mask in any of the stages, and for completing all the special stages, a Taranza mask. If you have Kirby Triple Deluxe Street Pass data on your 3DS, you'll also get a Kirby, Waddle and Meta Knight mask. You'll also get a trophy color based on your completion. I actually really like Dedede's Drum Dash. I find it to be a really fun rhythm game, and that's coming from someone who doesn't usually care too much for rhythm games. It's probably the platform part of it more so, and also just that I adore Kirby music. Drum Dash Deluxe also has enough content where I think I can say it's justified to put down $8 for it. It's a pretty good experience all around, and especially if you enjoy Drum Dash and Trip Deluxe, I certainly recommend Drum Dash Deluxe. If you want to see a full platinum run of all of these stages, I'll have a full playlist of these up on my channel, and a card on screen right now should be linking to that. Staying on the topic of the great King Dedede though, the most extensive side mode is Dedede Tour, essentially a whole new speedrun mode playthrough of the game as King Dedede, excluding Hypernova sections for obvious reasons. You're timed on how fast you complete each world, with warps being hidden around to get you ahead faster. This is also where you can fight DX version of each of the bosses, essentially harder versions of them with new abilities and strategies. Dedede can naturally do basically everything Kirby can do, even including plenty of things with copy abilities. His up attack can create fire to light fuses and melt ice, and his charge attack can shoot a projectile that cuts ropes. Otherwise, Dedede plays basically just like Hammer does as Kirby. Surprises don't start popping up until the end of the game. After you beat Queen Sectonia, the Dimensional Mirror from Amazing Mirror pops up, and out comes Shadow Dedede, who you then fight, and it's basically just a fight with Dedede from the story mode of Triple Deluxe. But hey, it's an excuse to hear the Masked Dedede remix again, so that's a good thing to my book. After you finish him off though, the mirror comes back, and you head inside. Yep, you fight Dark Meta Knight, returning from Amazing Mirror. His fight is actually pretty difficult, as he's very fast and aggressive, but he can also guard against your attacks. At half health, he powers up, creating copies of himself in these small mirrors, which you need to keep track of in order to attack the right one when they enter the foreground. Otherwise, he simply goes more aggressive towards you until you finally finish him off, send it back into the mirror, and Dedede breaks the damn thing once and for all. As another playthrough of the game, Dedede Tour is pretty great. I kinda wish they would have done more to differentiate it from the story mode playthrough, besides just the DX bosses and those final bosses at the very end, but it's great as it is already. I personally prefer the story mode personally. I just prefer getting a bunch of abilities as Kirby over being stuck with Hammer as Dedede, but then Dedede Tour is also significantly shorter than the story mode of Triple Deluxe. The DX and extra bosses are though a nice addition, and up the challenge quite a bit. Though I do think it's kinda odd they chose Dedede for this game, given he wasn't in Amazing Mirror at all, but hey, what are you gonna do? I do have a full playthrough of Dedede Tour up right now if you want to see the full adventure and hear me ramble about whatever came to my mind at the time. I get pretty loopy, especially considering it was recorded at about 2 AM, so yeah, I'd highly recommend watching it. You can do so via the card on screen right now, or via a link in the description. Moving on from that though, there's also the arena, which for all intents and purposes is just a boss rush. You get to choose a power at the very start, my personal choice is Leaf, and then you just fight all the bosses in a random order. That is until you reach a Masked Dedede, where you then fight him, Queen Sectonia, and the former's Flower form in that order. Between each round you get the opportunity to change your ability between 2 randomly chosen ones, or perhaps you've lost your ability in battle and now need a new one. You also get a total of 4 Maxim Tomatoes to give you a full heal in between rounds, as well as 1 Maxim Tomato you can keep in your inventory slot and use at any time. Things get more interesting and far more intense with the true arena though. You now fight all the DX versions of these bosses in random order, and between each round, you only get 4 oranges that heal up, which only recover about half your health. You still get 1 Maxim Tomato for your inventory though, thankfully. In this mode, you also fight Shadow Dedede and Dark Meta Knight, now as Kirby. The real surprise comes after Dark Meta Knight though. A revived version of Queen Sectonia, Sectonia's Soul. The first form is pretty similar to a flower form from before, just with some more complex laser patterns and attacks. Once you defeat this phase though, she breaks free from the Dreamstalk and a whole new fight begins. If you've lost your ability, don't worry. Sectonia will use various attacks and summon a number of enemies that can give you new ones. Just suck and eat them and see what you can get. This battle is pretty intense though, with Sectonia pulling off some truly ridiculous attacks, like turning into a giant flaming ball and meteoring towards you, for example. Sectonia's Soul's pause screen description reads, "She's fed off countless hosts and now cannot remember her true form. A voice called out to help her, but has since fallen silent. Before the night's end, she must be given her eternal beauty sleep." Given how intense the true arena can be, I've decided to do a full run of that as well, which you can view via the card on screen now or via the link in the description. What else is there? Oh, keychains! Yeah, we got all the rare keychains in the playthrough, but not all the normal ones as they're generated randomly, so here's a full collection of those. You also get access to a copy ability testing room once you complete the game, so you can try out any ability you may not have used or be too familiar with here. And this and the arenas are the only place you'll see the crash ability, since it doesn't appear at all in the story mode. Essentially, it's a massive explosion that kills everything on screen. You can charge it up by moving the D-pad around, and it goes away after one use. And I believe that's it. For a file to be considered 100%, you need to finish the story mode, finish Dedede Tour, get 3 golds on Dedede's Drum Dash, and simply complete the extra level, your rank doesn't matter. Beat Kirby Fighters with every ability, the difficulty doesn't matter. Beat both the arena and the true arena, and collect all 256 keychains. Once you do all this, you get this cute little video of Kirby and Dedede. And you also get Hypernova Kirby on the title screen instead of just regular Kirby. And also, Dedede will be there if you've completed Dedede Tour. But that's everything in Kirby Triple Deluxe. I really, really love this game, and I'm glad I got to share that here. It's a Kirby game everyone should play, and if you've never played a Kirby game, this is as good a starting point as any. I really hope you enjoyed the playthrough, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.